Welcome to the show, everyone. I talk a lot about a lot of other people on my show than myself. I never talk about me. And I really love this show because of all of the information that people get from it. And I've been having a lot of callers actually calling me and the listeners telling me how they really love the show because of the information. We're also live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We'll share the show later on. My first guest has been on with me several times now. He is Brian Mythaler, and he is with Bergen Financial Group, which they've also been on with me now for, gosh, it seems like a year or so almost, maybe even more. Welcome to the show. We were just listening to your ad, and It's just so ironic that you're sort of going to be talking about this today. Tell everybody first a little bit about yourself and what you all do.
Yeah, so timing was perfect, right, with the ad that was out there. We're a boutique company. We actually help clients, get to retirement, and then more importantly, how do we get down that hill when we have retired? How do we make sure that we're spending money appropriately? How do we minimize our taxes? Do we need any estate planning? So a complete, full, financial planning that we do for our clients.
I love it. Down that hill.
Yep.
We got to be able to get down that hill. Now, today you wanted to talk a little bit about, Roth conversions and things like that. And I want you to tell everybody a little bit about what a Roth conversion really is.
Yeah, so a Roth conversion is really taking your traditional IRA account and converting them into a Roth account. So you take money from the traditional and we move it over into a Roth account where we get the benefits that a Roth account has over a traditional account.
And anybody can do that? Are there penalties involved at all?
No, so that's a great question, and it depends upon how the taxes are paid. So let's talk about that a little bit. But the first part of your question, Carol, yes, anybody can do a conversion. Whether you're working or not, whether you have income or no income, doesn't matter in your age, anybody can do a conversion. As long as you have a traditional IRA, we can do a conversion. You asked about, is there any penalties or anything? So it depends how you pay the taxes. When you do a conversion, you are responsible for that tax bill. And if you are under 59 and a half and you pay with money within the IRA, you will get a penalty on that money that's paying the taxes. If you pay with outside money, meaning from another account, a non-qualified brokerage account or a checking or savings or money market, then you will not get hit with a penalty. If you're over 59 and a half, you're just responsible for the tax consequence, so no penalty.
So there's always a little caveat, right? The little tiny caveat, but this is where you come in, right? Because, I don't know if people try and do these things on their own, but I think it's really important to have someone like you who knows exactly what to do, so that you don't have to. It's all about not having to pay more money, right?
Yeah, it is, and one of the biggest struggles, a lot of people say, why do I want to pay taxes today? I don't want to pay those taxes. When they see, what that bill might be if they have a large IRA and they want to convert it. And the big thing is, hey, we know tax brackets are pretty low today. They're at historical lows, and we do think that taxes are going to go up. Now there's a new administration in, and they're trying to extend those tax laws out. The question is going to be, is it going to be made permanent, or is there going to be a time period on it? And then the other thing too, though, that can always change again. New Congress can come in and change those tax rules. So we want clients to take advantage of the current tax rate because it is one of the lowest it's ever been.
Right now, so take advantage of it now. Their phone number to call is 602-652-2665. The website is retirewithdarcy.com. And I know that at Darcy Financial Group, what they like to do is 15-minute little calls. Have a call, have a conversation with them, find out where you stand. I think that's the most important part. And then see if it's right for you. So again, that number is 602-652-2665. Okay, so let's say somebody wants to do that. How much can they convert?
Another great question. They can convert any amount that they want. So if you have $1 million IRA, we can convert the full $1 million at one time, or we can spread it out. The big thing you have to be aware of is, what's that going to do to your tax situation, and do you have the funds available to pay the taxes? Again, the conversation is, do we want to pay with outside money, or do we want to pay with money from within the IRA? Preferably, we recommend using outside money because that way, let's say you convert $1 million IRA, for example, that full $1 million goes into your IRA account. If you have to withhold taxes, you're going to be less than, depending on your tax bracket, that's going to put you in a big tax bracket. You may have 30% less going into the IRA, into the Roth. So that's why if we can pay with outside money, it benefits.
Yeah, now, let's say you are paying with the outside money. Do they let you pay off in payments, or does it all have to be paid up front?
No.
Or at that time?
Yeah, we do recommend you do, if you're gonna do conversions, do some quarterly filing, so you get that in, because again, if you miss your taxes, that can set you into some penalties, so we do wanna do quarterly filings if we're doing that.
Now, this is the one thing that we wanted to get out, and I think this is a really good time for that, is how can you help people then with these?
Yeah, so, it's not as simple as saying, okay, well, what's my tax bracket? How much extra do I have until I go into the next tax bracket, which is important, and we want to look at that. But there's all kinds of other hidden things that we need to be aware of when we do Roth conversions. The timing, when should I do the Roth conversion? Most people wait till the end of the year, which is actually not the best time to do it. Right now is the best time to do it. If you think about it, and if you're, IRA today is a baseball and it grows to a softball, now you got to convert the softball to a Roth account, whereas if you took the baseball and converted it today, then the softball is going to be a Roth account down the road. So beginning of the year is the best time to do your conversions because you get the entire year for that Roth to grow tax-free. A lot of people convert at the end of the year because they don't know what their tax bill is going to be. So if you're in that case, convert part in the beginning and save a little bit for the end of the year so we can do it. So that's part that we manage. The other thing too is you have to be careful with, does this trigger any other type of taxes? Is it going to impact Social Security if you're on Social Security? What's it going to do? So there's lots of elements that you have to be aware of. That's what we do, is we help with the plan, and we can outline what those expenses are going to be and how much you're going to save and what your estate is going to grow from that.
Now, again, their phone number to call is 602-652-2665. And it's retirewithdarcy.com. Before we go to a break, each person has their own story, right? And everybody has a different amount in their IRAs and all of that. So, but I like when you said that, well, you could do a little bit now and a little bit later I'm not sure how that would help any, but what are your thoughts on the two?
Yeah, by doing portions, we can keep you in a little bit lower tax bracket than if we did everything at once. So It's important to understand what tax bracket you're willing to go into, and then kind of look at what that tax bill is going to be. But most people that have larger IRAs, you are going to have a tax bomb down the road.
I like that. No, I don't like that.
The earlier we address it, the better and the less pain it will be for you down the road.
So, again, when you have these consultations with people, let's say somebody's listening and, they want to have a second opinion. Do you do that?
Absolutely, we'll do that. It's funny, I just had a 15-minute phone call from a listener about what do we do from an investment standpoint, from a planning standpoint. So, yeah, we could actually do second opinions, kind of talk to you about what that plan might look like and how we can go about helping you.
So you can call them direct. Their number is 602-652-2665. What I also like about you guys is that you're so down to earth. And
we are.
Yeah, you really are. When I was talking with Darcy today, and I tell you something, there's nothing as nice a guy, and you all seem to fit that bill, and caring about the people that you work with. So again, you can call them direct. Their phone number is 602-652-2665. It's retirewithdarcy.com. Hang tight, we're going to be back in just a minute.
Time goes by quick.
Yeah, and we're already though, that's why I brought that in, you were kind of talking fast, so, okay, I'm gonna keep on going. So you got a caller that called in, that was nice. Gee, that's cool.
Yeah, that was good. All right, I'll slow down a little bit.
No, that's just a little bit, just a little bit. So, let's see. Well, we're already here, so.
Let's see what we do. We can talk about taxes. We can talk about this and some of the benefits. Right?
Yeah. We're gonna be okay.
Yeah, we'll
be okay. Because I'm gonna throw this back in too.
Yeah, we'll throw that back.
That's why I did that sooner. I'm glad that happened. Yeah, we've been pretty busy, different people on the show and stuff like that, yeah. And they're gonna be continuing, so I'm excited about that, yeah, you're liking it.
Yeah, that's good.
You like it?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is how much fun people have, right?
Yeah.
And yet, whatever we get out of something like this, when you're on once a month like that, it's like, whatever we get out of it is the ice on the cake, so I'm glad that you are,
Yeah, I think it's good, the presence, people hear us and stuff,
Yeah.
and say, hey, you guys are a real company.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Seems like going that way. Keeps on going that way. So this guy that you're listening to right now, this is my longest running guest.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's been on for 16
Okay.
years.
Wow.
Every month.
Every month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He is a hypnotherapist.
I went to one of the comedy clubs. I
Oh,
saw,
yeah?
Flip Orley.
Oh yeah, no, totally different.
Okay. But you-
Totally different.
but-
Yeah, more for therapy.
Right. But
Not like quack.
I know, but it was amazing I
I know.
was like, okay, you gotta be doing it.
I know. So welcome back, everyone. So we're talking with Brian Mythaler, and he is with Bergen Financial Group, and we're talking about Roth conversions. And why do people not want to do it?
The main reason people do not want to do a Roth conversion is paying that taxes up front. Sometimes when you have to write a bigger check at the end of the year, some people do not want to do that. So again, that's our job, to help you understand the benefit of writing that check today. It's going to make you more money down the road, because that money is now going to grow and accumulate tax deferred.
Right.
And in the end, you're going to have more money to spend than you did before.
Right. I mean, and the only way you're going to know is by having a consultation. They do these little 15-minute, they're consultations that you do, and find out exactly whether or not, this is going to be for you. And the only way you know is by asking and looking into it.
Yeah, and if I can, just real quick, like our 15-minute consultation, it's really to see if we can help you. Are we a good fit? Can we really help you solve what you're looking to do? We think we're a great company, but there's a lot of companies out there. And again, your time is valuable. We want to make sure that we can actually help you. So we'll do a 15-minute, phone conversation to see if it's something that you have an interest in. What we do then is really say, hey, let's come in and see us for an office visit. And an office visit is, when you walk into our building, you're going to be greeted by Cindy and Cheryl in there. They're going to get you a beverage. We have really nice conference rooms that we can go into. You got some couches you can sit in, get nice and comfortable. We'll have some nice big screen TVs up there that we can draw on and pull things up. And really what we do in that first visit is we listen. What are you trying to accomplish? What's on your mind? What are your concerns? And talk about, can we help you? And we're not high pressure by any means. We just want to help people. Like you said, we're all down to earth, and if we can't help you, we'll tell you. And if we can't help you, we can kind of walk you through what our process will look like. But it's all, they're designed to help you, and no pressure.
Their phone number is 602-652-2665. It's retirewithdarcy.com. Okay, we're going to go into some of these things. We talked about when to convert your Roth conversion.
Roth conversions, yep.
When is now? When is now? Because now is the best time. It's the lowest right now. Now, I want to talk about taxes, and we're going to say about how they pay and all of that. Mm-hmm. So let's go.
Yeah, so taxes, and again, this is even a little bit better time because the market's down. So my investment just got a little bit smaller. So if I convert it today, I'm converting a little bit less value, and that's going to grow. So even a better time. Taxes, so let's talk about taxes. Typically, you can stay, when we do a conversion, we can keep you in a 12, 22, or 24. The 22 and 24% tax brackets are probably the most common because they have a very broad range that we can convert into and not go into a different bracket. But you're gonna be responsible for that taxes, so you can pay that taxes again with outside money, okay? Or if you're converting from a traditional IRA, you can have taxes withheld. Okay, and then just kind of, you have less money going into the Roth, but your taxes are taken care of. So some people prefer both, one way over the other, and it's our responsibility just to kind of walk you through the pros and cons of each way, so you have a good understanding of what to do on there.
So let's talk about the 5-year rule.
Okay. So the 5-year rule is complicated, so I won't go into great detail. If you do have specifics on the 5-year rules, by all means, let's schedule a 15-minute phone call and I'll explain those in details. There's really 2 elements of the 5-year rule. One if you're over 59 and a half, and the other one if you're under 59 and a half. And really what the 5-year rule says, it's a 5-year rule that when you do a conversion, that money needs to sit in that account for 5 years before it is 100% tax-free. Okay. But if you're over 59 and a half, the 5-year rule is not as detrimental as it sounds, because there's an order of how money comes out of a Roth account. So first one, and you can't change that order, the IRS determines how it's going to come out. So first your contributions come out, next your conversions come out, and then earnings come out last. Where the 5-year rule impacts people is, if you did a conversion and you liquidated the entire account, you would be responsible for taxes on the gains only if you're over 59 and a half and you didn't meet the 5-year rule. Okay? However, most people don't do that. They're converting and they're spending that account last, so they may take some money out, but it's probably going to be their contributions to come out. Or it might be their converted amount they just converted comes out. That's not going to be penalized, that's not going to be taxed. Okay? If we're under 59 and a half, then if I take money out before that, I'm going to get potentially that 10% penalty, because if it wasn't there, I would just convert my traditional IRA, pay the taxes, and then avoid a 10% penalty. So that's why that 10% penalty is there under 59 and a half. But the 5-year rule, if you convert at the end of the year, your actual 5-year rule, your 1-year rule starts January 1st of that year. So it all goes back to January 1st.
Who comes up with all these great rules?
IRS, Congress, everybody that puts this stuff together comes up with it.
And they're very complicated.
They are, yes, they are very complicated. That's why it's so much better to come in, get a good plan as far as what your Roth account conversion is going to look like versus just trying to do it, because once you do the conversion and you make that, you can't go back. No backsies.
Wow. So it's really, you got to be very careful.
Yeah, gotta know what you're
A
doing.
lot of people try and do these things on their own, and it's not a good idea, especially, if you do have someone and you're talking, you should speak to a financial advisor, somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people probably get into trouble.
Yeah, because we'll see some people do conversions, they don't take into account, how that might impact their Social Security, so that's going to hit provisional income.
Mhm.
Or even worse, how does it impact my IRMA? So my IRMA
Let's
surcharge.
talk about that, Irma.
Yeah, we don't like IRMA. That's one we want to avoid. That is a surcharge on your Medicare premiums for Part B and Part D. And once you hit those brackets, which they're not that high, Roth conversions can set you in there, you're going to pay additional premiums for that year until you go back down. So that's why we want to have a good strategy. How do we avoid that? How do we convert as much as possible? Is it a couple years? Is it multiple years? There's a lot to the Roth conversion. It is not as simple as it sounds.
Right, you really need to sit down and have a conversation with them so that they can find out. First, it's your story. Where are you? Where are you at? What is it that you really want to do? And finding out if this is a good move for you to take, right? And then, of course, you want to make sure that you're looking at everything, and there's things that they know to look at that you would never know, right?
Yeah, we do a really easy snapshot, so you can see what's your tax liability if you leave it at a traditional, what's your benefit if you convert it all, and what taxes did you pay to convert it, and then what was the overall tax savings, and it is substantial every time we do a conversion.
That number to call again is 602-652-2665. It's retirewithdarcy.com. So, okay, let's talk about the benefits.
Yeah, so let's talk about some benefits. One of the big things is a Roth account is tax-free, especially if I met the 5-year rule, 100% tax-free. Another big benefit, I don't have to take my required minimum distribution out of it, so I am the full owner of it. Unlike your traditional IRA, you are not the full owner. You're in business with the government because they own part of it, and they dictate terms of that IRA.
Right, and they always want money.
Yep. The other thing too is, again, when you take money out, it doesn't impact potential IRMA surcharges or it doesn't impact provisional income from Social Security being taxed. So that's a benefit. Beneficiaries, that is the best account to leave to a beneficiary because they also get to enjoy that account tax-free, and they can actually allow it to sit in that account for up to 10 years. If there's different rules, if it's spousal, they have different rules, but most, if you're leaving to a child or something, you got about the 10-year rule.
Okay, and the other thing that you were talking about is, you said it's tax-free to the beneficiaries, and or no retirement, no required minimum, and I was gonna ask you that, if you have to, and it doesn't matter?
Nope, you don't have to take your required minimum distribution out of a Roth account. That's a big benefit.
That's huge.
It's one of the biggest things. People come in, they get really upset, they gotta take RMD.
Yeah.
Hey, can I not take it? I'm like, nah, you get penalized, you gotta take it.
Right.
So that's a huge benefit where you don't have to worry about it. RMD's gone.
Let's talk about how you can help them again, so, they can call you and have this consultation.
Yeah, so call us up, we'll do a consultation, we'll see if you're a right fit are you a right fit for a Roth conversion? Some people don't need to do Roth conversions, right? Because we can still get that money out tax-free based on standard deductions. So not necessarily a good fit for everybody, but we can help you determine if it is a good fit for you. And then if it is a good fit, how do we do it the most tax efficiently possible?
And the thing is, what you've said the most is the time to do it is now. Let's talk about that again.
Yep. Yeah, you want to do it early in the year. That way you have the rest of the entire year for those funds to grow and accumulate tax-free.
Right, and
the market's down a little bit. Let's take
Right.
advantage of the down market. We get a lot of clients when the market's down. Great time. Let's convert some now because it's a little bit less, and that growth is going to come back into the Roth account.
So that you can call them direct. They do it's a 15-minute consultation, and you're gonna love that you did. They're really, really all about you and making sure that they're doing right by you. And you can call them at 602-652-2665. You can check them out on their website. It's retirewithdarcy.com, or call 602-652-2665.